Yo guys, what's going on? It's Speddy. This is going to be a bit of a different video than what I normally upload, and there's no denying that there's a drought of content in the game right now and not a lot to do. New World player numbers are dropping to an all-time low, which is mostly due to the lack of content in the game. So here's 4 things New World could add to the game to hopefully pull some of those numbers back. Now these are only opinions, and if you disagree with any of these and feel it will be negative for the game, let me know in case it's something I missed or just didn't cross my mind while making this video. So, firstly, there's not really any incentive to join a company unless you're part of a community, whether that's through Twitch or Discord, or to take part in wars. More company incentive needs to be added into the game, such as daily, weekly and monthly quests, and even a company leveling system. This could be huge if they were to add this, as the company leveling system rewards could open more slots within the company, for example. So when you reach a certain level within your company, you open up 10 more slots for new members, or even give hourly or daily buffs within the company like a skinning buff. This would give players more of a reason to join a company if they're not just looking for wars. They could add gathering quests, expedition quests. It could even open up the doors for more open world PvP other than just at specific times with the influence races. They could add a monthly PvP quest like defeat 500 players in open world combat in Weaver's Fen, for example, a specific area that forces players into their area to be able to complete the company objective. Obviously, different rewards for the different tier of quests you complete within your company. A weekly quest could give gold, company XP and small buffs. A monthly quest could give greater rewards because they take longer to complete and are more worth the grind. So for example, they could give marks of fortune, new mounts that are only obtained through completing these quests, weapon and armor skins, more gold, more company XP, the list could go on. Next up, and this would be the biggest PvE update and definitely the most exciting content that would have been added into the game, and that is raids. I see New World as a medieval version of Destiny, and if you've ever played Destiny 1 or Destiny 2, you'd know that they offer some pretty good raids. Just like Destiny, New World has several different mob types and variations that you can fight. This already opens up the doors for several different raids. One raid for each mob type, and even later down the line, integrate 2 mob types into a single raid. So for example, the Angry Earth are fighting the Corrupted and you have to help the Angry Earth push them back, or something like that. This would be a huge turning point for New World if and when we see raids implemented into the game. It will definitely be something to look forward to for the player base. I can see New World adding raids into the game in the future, as it's something the majority of MMOs have, and I feel it is a necessity, especially for a game like New World. I'm sure we will see raids in the game at some point in the future, and when we do, we will see a huge spike in numbers for returning and new players. We already see some of these new types of weapons and armor called artifacts being added into different expeditions as rewards, and now also into arenas. So they could definitely add some brand new, slightly overpowered ones into raids to have something else to grind for. As some of you that have watched my videos know, I myself am a PvP orientated player, but would happily grind raids to receive some game changing rewards. This one is more for players having their say on some of the major updates and changes that are planned for New World. The devs could add a polling system for new updates so players can share their input on some of the more major updates or changes that are planned. Let's say if 70% or higher of the players vote yes to the content that the devs have polled, it will get given the green light to start developing. And if less than 70%, then it's a straight up no. At least this way it would save the devs time and resources on updates that players didn't ask for, or on content that would be considered dead and unplayable after a certain amount of time, for example the hatchery in Brimstone Sands. This would be a good way to keep players fully in the loop of what changes are coming to the game with no transparency from the devs. I feel at times when there are updates coming to the game, there's a lack of communication from the devs on the progress of everything, and the players are left asking unanswered questions in the dark. At least this way we will know exactly what to expect, as we, the players, voted for it. Because of how low the player numbers have dropped recently, a lot of players would miss out on the vote if it were to happen in game. So New World does have a Discord server where they could do the polls. At least this way you wouldn't miss out on casting your vote if you are not online whilst the polls are active. You can vote from your phone or whatever device you get a Discord notification from, So the devs have options on having the polling system in-game only or on Discord. or both at the same time? Let me know your thoughts on New World having a polling system. And lastly, we have a bit of a controversial one, and it is the removal of factions. For me, there are only two reasons for choosing your faction, and that is the colour the faction represents and the backstory of the faction. And even then, there is no meaning to be part of a faction other than cosmetics for transmog you can buy from the faction vendor, or to take part in wars. So if factions were to be removed, any company could fight against any company. The buffs and benefits of owning a territory would remain the same, so you would still have those, but there will be no need for players in war companies to keep faction swapping when their current faction owns a majority of the map and they then need to rebalance it out. Pushing for wars could still stay the same. The only difference for the influence race outpost would just be that instead of one big Zerg from each of the factions, it would be companies fighting for control of the outpost, and hopefully a little less Zergy, where it's one faction stomping the other two. Or, if not the full removal of factions, have 1 or 2 days a week where certain territories go into a civil war state, where any company in that faction can declare war on the owner of the territory that is owned by the same faction. So if one company owns a territory for a long amount of time, that company's faction can rebel against them and force them into a war. Something like that just to spice factions up a little bit. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. So that would do it for this video. If you enjoyed the video, then don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I would highly appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, have an amazing day.